Hi crocheters of the world. In this tutorial I want to show you this beautiful mixture actually of stitches. It's a pattern that use the cluster, triple cluster stitch and the Solomon's knot to create this very nice texture. And it can be used, of course, so from my point of view it's just perfect for a summer shawl or a scarf. So let's get started with our project here. We want to begin with the slip knot. You can use any kind of yarn and crochet hook to work this. I'm using a 3mm hook and a cotton yarn that goes with this hook, size hook. So we begin with a chain of 2. Now insert the hook into the first chain and work a single crochet. And now for the first row we will work pairs of Solomon's knots. So a even number of Solomon's knots actually. So this is 1 and this is the second one. And you know that to work the Solomon's knot we want a longer loop. Then we keep the 2 fingers here like this firmly. We pull the yarn through the loop. We have a little loop now and we insert the hook in between the loop and the yarn here. Yarn, pull the yarn through it and now yarn over and work the single crochet. Okay, so this is the, now again, longer loop. And for this project we don't need a very long loop for the Solomon knot. Now keep the finger here in between the loop and the yarn, pull the yarn through the loop, insert the hook in between the loop and this one too, this one, and pull the yarn through it. Now 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and we work the single crochet. Now I have 4, I want to work 2 more for this first row, 1 and 2. Okay, and into this very first row work a little bit longer than you will work the rest of the Solomon's knots. For the rest, just to give you an idea, for the rest of the Solomon's knots we will work the, let's say, 1.5 centimeter. Okay, we don't have to measure them, of course, but just an idea, an average. It's something that I just want to say. So it's like this. These are 2 centimeters. Okay, so 1.5 or 2 centimeters. For 2 centimeters, it's a little bit. Oh, it's okay, but 1.5. It's perfect. Okay, so just to give you an idea, not and the very first row work the Solomon's knots a little bit bigger. Let's say let's work the first row actually of Solomon's knots for about 2 centimeters length, and the other, all the other Solomon's knots 1.5 centimeter. Okay, as I said before, just to give you an idea. Okay, now this is the very first row, and now for the second row, yarn over, insert the hook into the very first, single crochet here and single crochet. Now work 2, and now we begin with the smaller, so these 1 and 2 Solomon's knot. It's very important to work them a little bit. As you can see, they are smaller than the rest. Okay, now I work 2 Solomon's knots. I will skip 1 of the basic row, insert the hook into the single crochet and single crochet. And actually we will work like this. Over each of our Solomon's knot of the very first row we will work 2, so a pair. Now this is 1 and 2, and not very large. Okay, now we skip one Solomon's knot of the first row, insert the hook into the single crochet and single crochet to join. So we will have these kind of pairs of Solomon's knots, and this is what we really want. Okay, now continue on like this through the end of the second row. So 2, and we skip 1 and insert the hook into the single crochet and single crochet. Okay, now again 1, not very large, single crochet, 2. So each of our Solomon's knot end with a single crochet. Now skip one Solomon knot of the very first row, insert the hook into the single crochet and single crochet. Okay, now again 1 and 2, and skip one Solomon knot of the first row and single crochet into the single crochet. Now again 1 and 2, and the same thing, we have to skip the very first Solomon knot and to insert the hook into the very first single crochet and to single crochet. Okay, now this is the second row. The second row has as many pairs of Solomon's knots as the first row has one Solomon knot, actually. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Solomon's knots on the first row. So we have 6 pairs of Solomon's knots on the second row. And these two rows are the, let's say, initial, the basic rows, okay? And now from the third row, we will begin the sequence to repeat for the entire length of our project. And this sequence will contain 4 rows. So will be number 3, row number 3, 4, 5, and 6. But we don't have, so these are only at these 2 rows that we already completed are only the basic rows. So now we will begin actually with the pattern. So I will say number 1 for the very next row. This is number 1 to repeat, the first row to repeat of our sequence. Okay, and we will begin it with a chain of 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now turn your work, and now into this very first row of the sequence to repeat for our pattern, we will work a half of the normal Solomon's knot that we have here into this side, the length, into the second row, which is the half. It's like this, so very, very, very small. Okay, only in this row, at the beginning and at the end of this row. Okay, this is my little Solomon's knot. Okay, and now yarn over twice, and in between, so in between my 2 Solomon's knots here, so my pair, I have here the first pair, into the single crochet on the top, let us work the cluster. So 1 triple crochet, and we don't want to finish it. Leave the loop on the hook, yarn over twice, and this is the second triple crochet, and we don't want to finish it. Yarn over twice, insert the hook into the same single crochet. This is the third, yarn over twice, insert the hook into the same single crochet. This is the fourth, yarn over twice, insert the hook into the same single crochet, and this is my fifth. Okay, now yarn over, pull through all, and chain 1 to secure. We finished the first cluster of this first row of the repeating sequence. Now work a normal Solomon knot and skip directly into on the top of the very next pair. So one Solomon's knot, normal Solomon's knot, as we did into the second row. So this is the small, which must be a half of this one, okay? Now one Solomon's knot, yarn over twice and skip directly in between the second pair into the single crochet and work a 5 triple crochet cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we must have 6 loops on the hook because we have the loop of the Solomon knot and the 5 of the 5 triple crochets, yarn over, pull through all, and chain 1 to secure. Now this is what we have to continue on. This is how we have to continue on for all of these first row of the repeating sequence. So we have to go on like this, working a Solomon knot and a 5 triple crochet cluster into the very next, on the top of the very next pair of Solomon's knots. So Solomon knot, yarn over twice and skip directly on the top of the second pair, so which is the single crochet, and work your five triple crochets together for the cluster. 4, and this is the 5th one. Yarn over, pull through all, and chain 1 to secure. Okay, now you can continue on like this for the length that you have. I will be back to show you how to finish this first row of the repeating sequence. Now if you are at the end of your first row to repeat of the sequence of the repeating sequence of this pattern, you will finish the row like this. After you complete with the last cluster into the last pair of Solomon's knots, you will work a little Solomon's knot, smaller than usual, so as the begin, like this. And because we began with a chain of 6, we will finish like this: 1 around, wrapping the yarn around the hook 4 times, 2, 3, 4, and we will work it, this stitch, into the single crochet here of the beginning of the second row, insert the hook, pull the yarn, and now yarn over, pull through 2, 1, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 times, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 times, yarn over, pull through 2, 4 times, yarn over, pull through, last 2 loops on the hook, so 5 times. Okay, now this is what we have. This is the very first row to repeat for our sequence, and we have to remember that we begin this row with a chain of 6, and to finish we wrap the yarn over the hook 4 times, and we work it as a normal triple crochet or double crochet, only that we pull through 2 5 times. Now we begin the second row of the repeating sequence with a chain of 4. And of course we want to turn our work, okay, like this on the back side. And now we will work like this. Begin with a Solomon knot, normal Solomon knot, so only into the very first row to repeat we begin and end with a little Solomon's knot. Okay, now a normal Solomon knot, and now insert the hook into the first cluster of the previous row and single crochet. And now we have to begin with our pairs. So 1 and 2 pairs of Solomon's knots, of course. Skip into the very next cluster, chain, secure chain, and single crochet. Again, 1 and 2 Solomon's knots. Skip into the very next cluster into the secure chain, work a single crochet, and we have to continue on like this, working pairs of Solomon's knots for the entire length of our second row of the repeating sequence of this pattern stitch. So 1 and 2. Skip into the very next cluster into the chain 1, secure chain 1, and single crochet. Now again, 1 single crochet and 2. Skip into the last cluster, and this is what we have. Now we will finish this row with 1 Solomon knot, and because we began it with a chain of 4, we want to finish it with a triple crochet. So yarn over twice, insert the hook into the 6th chain of the beginning chain 6 of the previous row here, and work your triple crochet. And this was the second row to repeat. Okay, third row to repeat begins like this. Chain 2 and turn your work. Yarn over and into the same triple crochet of the previous row, work a double crochet. Now this is a double crochet cluster. So there are 2 actually double crochets worked together. You see, chain 2 and the double crochet. Okay. Now we want to begin with a Solomon knot, yarn over twice, and into the single crochet, into the first pair. We have here our pairs, but as you can see, we don't have the same number of pairs that we had on the first row where we worked the pairs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here we had 6 number of pairs. Now here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have only 5 number of pairs. So into these pairs now we will work our clusters. So here into the first row to repeat, we worked 6 clusters. Now because we have only 5 pairs here, we will work, of course, only 5 clusters. So yarn over twice, insert the hook directly in the middle of the first pair of Solomon's knot, so into the single crochet, and begin with your first cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull through all and chain 1 to secure. And now we will continue on like this, working on the top of each pair one cluster, and then 1 Solomon knot, yarn over twice to skip into the very next, on the top of the very next pair of Solomon's knots of the previous row. So all that you have is to continue on like this to the end of this third row of the sequence to repeat. 4, 5. Okay, continue on like this until the end. I will be back to show you how to finish this row. So I began this row, this third row of the repeating sequence. I began it with a Solomon knot and a cluster of 2 double crochets. So I will finish it in the same manner. So Solomon knot, yarn over, insert the hook into the 4th chain of the beginning chain 3 of the previous row and work 1 double crochet but leave the loop on the hook, yarn over, insert the hook into the same chain 4, work another double crochet, leave the loop on the hook and pull through all. And this is what we have. Okay, now the 4th row of the sequence to repeat and the last. And now, because this will be the last row, the 4th row and the last row to repeat for the sequence, this means what means that for the next row we will work again, we will begin again with a chain 6 and the little Solomon knot, and then with the chain 4 and then with the 2 double crochet cluster. So chain 1, turn your work, and into the cluster work a single crochet like this. And now work like this, pairs of Solomon's knots, 1 and 2. Insert the hook into the into the single crochet here, into the chain, a secure chain of the cluster, and single crochet. Then again 1 and 2. And actually we are forming our 6 pairs again. 1 and 2. Again into the next cluster, secure chain of the next cluster, single crochet. 1 and 2. Again into the chain, secure chain of the next cluster, single crochet. 1 and 2. Again into the very next, which is my last actually now, cluster, and we will finish with another pair of Solomon's knots. And because we began with a single crochet into the double crochet cluster, we will insert the hook into the double crochet cluster here, and we will single crochet to finish the row. And as you can see, we have now again our 6 pairs of Solomon knots, and we will begin to repeat from the chain 6 the first row of the sequence to repeat, which is the row that begins with the chain 6 and with the little Solomon knot. So this is the pattern. With these 4 rows you have to go on for the length that you need, and actually it's really easy, a really easy pattern, but very nice from my point of view. Hope you will like it too. And this is just one more thing that I want to say. So we normally begin now with a chain of 6, 4, 5, 6, turn our work like this, and we begin to work our clusters So with the little Solomon knot, very small Solomon knot, yarn over twice, and into the first pair we want to work the clusters, and we go on like this. We will have 6 clusters, and then we will begin with only one Solomon knot, the pairs, and one we will finish with one, so we'll have 5 into the 3rd row to repeat, of the sequence to repeat, and then into the actually 2nd row to repeat, into the 3rd row to repeat. We will work only 5 clusters, and so on and so forth. So okay, I have here 6 because I began with 6 Solomon's knots, but of course with you begin with, I don't know, 20 or 30 or I don't know how many, you will have 30 and then 29 and 30 and 29. Okay, so I think you've got the idea. Okay, now to finish, so as the final row for your project, you will work like this. So the final row, when you just finish the length, okay, so you finish like with your total number, completed number of pair of Solomon's knot, and you don't want to work your clusters. You just insert the hook in between and work a single crochet and the Solomon knot, and in between the next pair, in between the next pair you will work only a single crochet and a Solomon knot, and this is how you will finish your, this is the row that you will use to finish your project, okay, because it gives the same result as the first 2 rows. The 2 rows that we don't actually count for the entire project. So the first and the second row. Okay, and now the small one, and 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over 4 times, insert the hook here into the single crochet and work your stitch. And this is how you want to finish. Can you see? It's actually similar at these 2 rows. Okay. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you like my tutorials, don't forget to subscribe for more. See you at the next tutorial. Bye bye.